If it were up to me, what I would do is I would let them go all the way through the diatonic scale before I start introducing music, and then I'm gonna give them something really simple that only uses mi, re, and do, and we're gonna sing the melodies, and we're gonna play around improvising on mi, re, and do, and then we're gonna teach the music note by note. We're gonna experiment with it. Don't try to teach them to read notation with all 7 pitches, even if you already taught them all 7 pitches. Let them do it small bits by small bits. But when we're teaching band the traditional way, the cognitive demand upon these students is that they need to use good embouchure, good posture, good air, watch the conductor, look at the music, decode little black squiggles on the page. There's so much going on in here. When you do it this way, you're reducing the cognitive load. The educationese word is scaffolding. We're learning scaffolding. But what you've done is you've taught them to speak music first, organically, using the vocabulary that we always use. And then once they have gotten confident with that, now you're adding the element of reading musical notation. So they are enabled to create and speak their own voice and their own mind. And they are also enabled to read the music and play the literature that we've all come to love so much, that is a part of our cultural heritage. I think they're scary, because if you give them too much, they're gonna shut down and you're lost. So go slower than you think you should. All right, this time let's go 8 beats. 4 beats isn't enough to say anything. Let's go 8 beats, same thing, same tonal palette. 1, 2, 8 beats, go. Great, great, great. So could I have only the people whose birthday is between January and June? Same thing, 8 beats, slapping the thighs. 1, 2, ready, and go. Great, let's go people who's born July to December. Your turn. 1, 2, ready, and go. Cool. Now let's do this. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. All right, pair up. We're gonna do something slightly different, okay? I want you to decide one person is gonna be not even steady beat, but kind of steady beat, but you can do like some fun stuff. You're kind of doing bass drum-like things with your feet. The other person is gonna do the fun stuff, okay? So you've got one snare drum and one bass drum, and we're in pairs. All right, so right now decide who's the snare and who's the bass. Flip the coin, thumb rest. Cool, man. All right, here we go. Pair up, and we're gonna do it at the same exact time. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. Cool. Switch rolls. Switch rolls your partner. Now I'm basing your snare. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. Cool. Let's hear the pairs. Flip the coin, decide who's going to do which one. We're just going to do each person once, each pair once. Okay? We'll get one snare, one bass. All right, y'all ready? Beautiful. Here we go. Now I'm going to go right down the row. I'm not going to stop. Cool. And snare bass.
Oh, the snare.
Beautiful. All right, here we go. 1, 2, ready, and go. Yeah. I gotta dance, don't I? Cool, all right. So let's do this. We're gonna open up the tonal palette. Right now we are using only 2 tone colors, aren't we? And yes, they really are tone colors. Imagine introducing technical words, but only after we've already done it. So now we can use, let's use 3 different tone colors, but only with our hands. So we've got this, and we got that. Okay? You can use 3 tone colors in any combination you want. 8 beats. Here we go. So let's all at the same time, 8 beats. 1, 2, 3, tones, go. Nice, nice. Do it again, one more time. Make up something different, use those 3 tone colors. Have some fun. Matter of fact, let's do any sound that involves your hand striking something that is not another human being. Okay? Or we'll say we can include your chair or your own body. Let's limit it to that. All right? Definitely not your neighbor. Because you got to say that with 6th graders. I guarantee they're like, hey, Nathan. There you go. 1, 2, 8 beats, go. Ooh, great, great, great. Can we go down the line? I'll go first. As the instructor, always go first. So they get an idea, they get confident. All right, I'll go first. 1, 2, ready. Can we all do it together? Same time. Cool. What's the demand level here? How hard is this?
Hard.
I mean, it's really elementary.
Just ending as you make it, really.
Right, it's as hard as you want to make it. Can you assess this?
Oh, yeah.
How would you assess they're making it up? How would you assess it?
And are they doing like
Yeah.
2 hands, 1 hand?
You can assess anything for which you've given instructions. If you told them to do 8 beats, did they do 8 beats? Or did they do 9? Or did they do 7? Did they use the tone colors you asked for, right? Or did they pick up tempo blocks? That wasn't the instruction. Did they hit their neighbor? That was not part of the instructions, okay? So did they fit that steady beat? You can assess anything for which you have given specific instructions and parameters, okay? The fact that it's creativity does not preclude that in any way, shape, or form. So what did you notice about the way I led instruction? What are some things that all of us, noticed about how this went? Yeah, go ahead.
You would do it as a group to get everyone comfortable and then instruct the individuality.
Safety in numbers. Let them experiment a lot in a full group before you start breaking it down. Nobody wants to be in the spotlight when they're not comfortable. Yeah, so safety in numbers. What else? And yeah, we went smaller by smaller. You notice I had like everybody that I went half and half. I broke it up by birthdays. You can break it up by like people wearing black shoes versus other color shoes, or brown eyes versus blue eyes. You can split it up however you want. And you can make it smaller and smaller groups. What are some other things? Yeah, then I went to pairs, and then I finally went individual. Sorry?
It was always positive.
Yes, positive reinforcement. And if somebody did something, maybe they weren't right on the beat, I don't think I'd necessarily call that out, especially at the earlier level, because they're probably just getting used to it. They haven't gotten familiar with it. But if somebody consistently had problems, give some coaching, give them another opportunity, have them play along with a neighbor, but always be positive and supportive, right? Remember, this is divergent thinking, but you still want to uphold standards, right? You still want to hold. You don't want them to play for 12 beats when you asked for 8, okay? So there's still certain parameters that you want to include. What else did you notice about the way I did this? Yeah, go ahead.
Along with the chronological order, you also did it yourself first.
Always model. Give an example. Give them an idea what you're looking for. Because we all know that when the band director, orchestra director's up there yammering away, so many students, especially bless their hearts, the ADHD, they're zoned out. Oh, clouds, oh, puppies, yay, happy days. And then you're going 1, 2, they're like, oh, crap, right? So just show them. A picture's worth 1,000 words. They'll pay attention to that. Plus, it's really, really helpful. So after I performed, what did I do? When we were going around the circle,
Listen.
I listened.
Looked at.
And what else was I doing?
You're conducting.
Keeping the beat.
Tempo, yeah.
You said conducting. Was it conducting?
In order.
You were cueing in the next person.
Cueing in the next person, which that is conducting. It's not traditional conducting patterns, no, not at all. This would not be helpful, I think, but I was leading non-verbally, and that is a type of conducting, absolutely. Now, these people can figure out where 8 beats is. They didn't need me for that. But 6th graders, maybe even 9th graders, maybe even 12th graders, they haven't done a lot of creativity before. They're not gonna be focused on the beats. You're gonna be like, oh man, which notes am I supposed to play now, right? So you're just kind of walking along, and all they got to do is make some sound, and then they know when the next person is. So you're taking one more cognitive load off their mind, and you just help them out as they go. Okay? So there are so many things that you can do in the dimension of rhythm. I know I kind of skipped ahead. I've done this so many times I forget about the PowerPoint. I've already said all this stuff, so I'm going to kind of pop through. Oh, look, there's a microphone. Okay, now we have come to it. All right, so now the next step, we've done rhythm, and there's so many activities you can do: solo, individual, small group. You can have some people be bass drums, and some people do, multi-toms or something like that. You can even introduce classroom percussion that they would have used in elementary school, or you can actually use band percussion instruments, right? Somebody can imagine teaching everybody in your band room how to properly play a bass drum. I mean, crazy thought that. Or bring out some other instruments. But eventually, the big shinies are going to come in, right? Their band instruments are going to arrive, because during those first weeks of class when you're doing all of this creativity and reinforcing the steady beat. By the way, is reinforcing the steady beat important for sixth graders?
Yes.
When can you stop reinforcing the steady beat? Never. We have all seen high school seniors on the field who don't know where the beat is. And they're stomping grapes out there and they can't quite figure it out. Yeah. The steady beat is not just for kindergarten. We always want to reinforce that, okay? So eventually, after you've introduced the instruments, you've done your petting zoo, everybody knows what instrument they want to play, you've done all of that kind of stuff, the instruments arrive, and we're going to skip over the step where we have brass techniques, woodwind techniques, percussion techniques, and string techniques classes. This is where you show them what an embouchure is, how to breathe, all the things, how to hold it, where you need a neck strap, and it's not just a fancy necklace. We're not going to talk about that right now because that's that class. What we're going to do is, you've taught them how to make a tone. Now I'm going to talk about what tones to use first and how to teach. We don't use note names. To start, we don't use note names. Why? Because, all right, you're going to play an F and you're going to play a G, and you're going to, it's time consuming. Instead, we are going to teach music theory without ever telling them that we're teaching music theory. How many of you loved oral theory in college? 3! And let me guess, you're the ones with perfect pitch, aren't you? Yes. And we all hate you. We really, really do. No, we're jealous. We're incredibly jealous of you. So we are going to focus on using solfege syllables, because every beginning band lives in what key for the first how many weeks? B flat, okay? And string folks, you live in what key for the first several weeks?
D
major.
D major. Some people say G, but you know what? It's either G or D. It's definitely not E flat, okay? So you pick a key, and it works exactly the same way. We've got band instruments up here, so we are in the key of B flat major. I don't tell them this, okay? But here's what I do. I tell them, we're going to learn a set of 7 notes, and we're going to start with 1. And I'm going to show you the fingering, and you're going to listen to how it sounds, and we're going to imitate that sound. Now, what I'm going to present to you, you're going to roll your eyes, you're like, this is goofy, this is lame. It is. It is lame. But it's memorable, and it makes sense when you understand the relationship among all those 7 scale degrees. So feel free to roll your eyes and groan, because it is cheesy. It is super cheesy. It's a 10-pound block of American cheese. But it makes sense, and it's memorable, okay? So I have assigned a persona, a character, to each of the 7 scale degrees. So we're going to start, all right, there's a family, mother, father, and a daughter. We're going to learn about the mother. Her name is Mia. Roll your eyes. Yes, it's scale degree 3. It's me, all right? So, my beginning band class of 47 students, I'm going to go around flutes. All right, so can we pick up the instrument? Da-da-da-da-da, right? This is the fingering. Obviously, I don't need to do that right now, but I'm showing you the fingering for me. I'm not going to call it D. This is the fingering, all right? I'm going to demonstrate. I'm going to make it. Can we hear this note, please? Let me hear me on the flute. Go ahead. Great. You're all champions. All right, trumpets. Here we go. Brass, pretend like I can play in your register as well. All right, if you have valves, press down the first 2. Trombone, you know where 4th position is, but I'd actually show them properly. Again, I'm skipping all that technique stuff. A little longer. Can we make that sound, please? Notice it's all about this. It is all about this. It is not about this. We are listening and imitating. And what is one of the most common problems with beginners on brass instruments?
Harsh pitch.
We're pressing the right buttons and we're getting, or you got the bagpipes going on, right? All the time, because they're not using this, okay? So now we all figured out where Mia is. Mia is a lovely lady. She lives in a nice house and she's happy. Can we make Mia dance for 8 beats? Mia's gonna dance for 8 beats. 1, 2, ready, and go. All right, not too bad. Can somebody figure out the purpose behind why I did what I did? What is the significance of that exercise? What did they accomplish?
Repetition.
Repetition of what?
Playing that note again and again and again.
They're getting comfortable with producing a consistent tone on that pitch. What else are they doing?
Articulation.
They're
So, like,
articulating.
breathing and tongue.
Okay, so Band Today Book 1, which tells you how old I am, all right? Or what was it, First Division Band Method? Yeah, another old one. Or Standards of Excellence. What are your first lines in the method book?
Whole nose.
Whole note, whole rest. Whole note, whole rest. And they're called Away We Go, or some other goofy. You think my names for the characters are goofy. They're no goofier than what Bruce Pearson came up with. Bless his heart, it's a great method, but you're not articulating on that. You're not developing articulation. If all you're playing is whole note, whole rest, whole note, whole rest, you don't know if they're articulating or if they're just going hoo-la, right? You can't hear that. Now, is there value in playing long tones? Of course there are, but you don't need a book to tell you. The first thing we did was hold out me and get used to supporting that tone and keeping it consistent. And all the while you're doing all this other crazy stuff, you are always listening for tone production, you're listening for intonation, you're looking for hold, you're looking for posture, all of those things are reinforced. But you know what? They get to have some fun and the articulation gets developed much, much earlier because they're playing whatever they want to. They're guaranteed to articulate more rapidly than whole note, whole rest, which means that's something that doesn't get ignored early on. Okay, enough talk. Now, remember those activities we did with the rhythms and slapping on the thighs? We're gonna do those all over again using me. So we're gonna have the whole group do 8 beats, and we'll do 4 beats, and I'll come up with a new image, and then we'll do people who were born in these months, or people born in those months, and then we're gonna go down the line. We only have 50 minutes, so I just told you what we're gonna do. Imagine that we did that, and we're gonna go on and add the next step. Fair enough? I have to condense, I do an 18-hour workshop of this spread over 3 days during the summer. And by the way, if you all want to come to that, I can get you in. You just have to come to Jacksonville for 3 days, and I can bring you in for a very, very steep discount. I'm not here to market it, but I want to let you know. I'm condensing 8 hours down to 50 minutes, so I'm going to rush through a bunch of stuff because I want to get you the big picture in mind. So, you're now comfortable with Mia. I have heard every one of you play scale degree 3 with a good tone, consistently, with no trouble, and you feel comfortable with it. Okay? Not only as a group, but individually. I've assessed you individually. The A word. Yes, and that's what you're doing. You're always assessing, watching, and listening. So, we're bored with it now. There's not much you can do with one pitch. Can you be musical with just one pitch?
Try it.
Ask a snare drummer. You can be musical with one pitch, of course you can.
What about those
So-
50s R&B saxophonists?
Yes, yes. But you know what? Mia's lonely, so let's introduce her husband. What's his name?
Ray.
Solomon. Solomon. Okay, so now I go down the line. Flute. Right? Oh, yeah, pinky. Don't forget the pinky trumpets. Nothing down. By the way, why did I start with me? Why did I start with me and not sol or do?
We do that in
I know
elementary.
you know the answers. You know all the secrets. You've been through the workshop.
I don't know exactly what, but I know when we were doing do re mi in elementary, like you started on mi and sol. It was a while before you got down to do.
Mi and sol are the most universal intervals. Anybody who's done anything Orff, you know that. But there's another reason. Think about fingerings.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the clarinet and saxophone. What's the fingering for mi on clarinet and saxophone? It's the exact same thing. Now, what's the finger for sol on clarinet? Is that the first note you want to teach on clarinet where they're not touching anything? They're going to drop the fool thing. They'll drop it anyway, but at least they have a chance here, right? Okay? Plus, you tell the clarinets and saxophones is basically the same thing. And the brass instruments, you're pressing down valves, you've got to hold on it. Now, flutes, yeah, I mean, that's a lot of buttons to press. But they're going to have the struggle bus. The clarinets are going to struggle bus when they get to T, all right? Brass, all right? Everybody's going to have their own individual challenges, okay? But this is why I started with mi, is because it's the most comfortable for everybody, and the trombone gets to move the slide out, yay, right? Instead of pegging all the way in. So now Solomon, I've showed you all the fingerings. Listen to this sound. Now remember, you're in 6th grade. I only taught you one octave. I know you know all the octaves there. All right, great. So let's have Solomon. He just got home from a long vacation and the grass is overgrown on his lawn. He's got to stomp around through that tall grass. 8 beats of Solomon stomping around the tall grass because he lives in Florida. There you go. 1, 2, ready, go. What did you all notice about the way everybody played?
It's on time.
Very heavy.
Pesante, very heavy. Yeah. Did I tell anybody to play accented?
No.
Imagine using imagery and analogy to teach musical expression, box 3. Oh yes, I teach the FBA sheets in my secondary methods class, absolutely. We teach box 3 through imagery, organically, through human life and human expression. I didn't talk about accents or this thing or anything like that. They connected real life to it, okay? Now, Solomon got in late, and he does not want to wake up Mia. Because he was, he's a high school band director, and he was playing in a football game, and it was an away game. He was very far. Not because of anything negative. He just doesn't want to wake her up because he's a good husband. All right, so it's 2 a.m. and the last student finally got picked up and he got to come home. So Solomon just got home and he's getting a glass of water in the kitchen. He's really quiet. Here we go. 1, 2, 8 beats, Solomon. He's actually not a high school graduate. He's a middle school principal. But that's beside. You can change the story as you want. His actual profession is middle school principal. All right, now, Solomon, we're going to have him tiptoe around again, but Mia missed him so much she didn't actually fall asleep, and then she comes out into the kitchen, and he thinks she's asleep, and when he's not looking, she yells, "Boo!" and startles the snot out of him. All right, here we go. We're going to have Solomon and Mia. 1, 2, ready. Right, he goes straight through the roof. Right? Cool. So now we're actually using Solomon and Mia. So let's try Solomon and Mia. They are dancing a waltz. No, I'm not going to go into 3/4 time. By the way, have I talked about meter yet? Or time signatures? Meters, time signatures, or measures are abstractions. They're constructions in Western tonal music. What am I talking about? What units of time am I using? Beats. Yeah, beats are intuitive. We've known what beats are for all of our lives. There's no question. I said 8 beats, 9 beats, 12 beats. It's a beat. Okay? Concrete before abstract. Now, when we have Solomon and Mia, we say waltzing. They're dancing around the living room because they love each other so much. It's lovely. Here we go. 1, 2, 8 beats dancing. Great. Let's have Solomon and Mia are now going for a morning jog after having a really strong cup of coffee. 1, 2, 8 beats and go. Did you notice we all went to staccato? Does anybody want to go jogging with a heavy pack on your back or really heavy shoes? No, you want to keep it light. And so we're developing different ways of articulating as well. Now, are 6th graders going to do it as well as we did? Of course not, but they're going to try. They're going to listen. They're going to think. They're going to start aiming in that direction, okay? And the sooner you get them thinking about it, the sooner you get them with that mindset, the more they're going to be able to do. All right, great. So now we go through all these different images and different amounts of beats, and then we have pairs of people, and one's Mia and one's Solomon, all these combinations, and we get thoroughly comfortable with Mia and Solomon, okay? So we're skipping ahead of that. We'll move on to the next one. Now we've got, who am I introduce next? Orff people. Who am I introducing next?
La.
La would be the proper Orff person to add, but I'm not adding La because I'm not doing Orff. But that is the perfect answer. It is Ray. It is absolutely Ray. Who got Ray? Yes. Ray is the next pitch. What was the first interval we used?
Minor third.
A minor third. A minor third. Almost a universal interval throughout the world. Now, what interval are we going to have? We're going to have a major second and a perfect fourth. So we're expanding a little bit beyond that. So now we're going to do some oral theory. By the way, the best way to teach all of this is to always have the students singing. Let them sing those intervals. If you can sing it, you can play it. And every wind player, every string player in particular, needs to be able to sing and imitate those pitches. Brass players especially, French horn players especially, and trombone. But everybody needs to be able to internalize and audiate those pitches. And how much more efficient are they going to do that when they're doing it organically? So we start small. All right, now we're going to introduce a neighbor kid by the name of Ray. And he is either Filipino or Latino. Why? Because it's spelled R-E-Y, right? And why did I choose that? Because Ray is spelled R-E. That's why, right? So can we figure out where Ray is on our instruments? I'm going to go down the line when I teach you flutes. 1 and done. All right, trumpets. 1, 3, and slide. 1, 3, and slide. It's not 1 and 3. Trombone. Put your arm out a whole bunch and listen around you. And of course, I would shoot, right? And tuba, 4th valve. Here we go. 4th valve, yep. Can we make this sound? Ray is an 8th grader. Everybody loves Ray. There's a reason behind every one of these little stories. We're going to skip ahead, way ahead to this. But in the tonal system, there are 3 scale degrees that can be used over top of any chord, and they will never clash. Those 3 scale degrees are Re, Sol, and La. Doesn't matter what the chord is going on. Now, they're not necessarily chordal tones, but none of them will ever clash because they don't form a minor second interval with any other note in the scale. So Re, everybody loves Re. Re fits in with everybody, okay? So, can we experiment with Ray? Ray's gonna be running home from school because he's happy school's over. He's coming home. 1, 2, 8 beats. Ray running. Ray is mowing the lawn at me and Solomon's house, and he's getting paid. Now I got paid $20 to mow the lawn back in the '90s. How much you get paid to mow the lawn now?
$10.
$20. All right. He's getting paid $20 to mow. I was mowing a really big lawn too. So, yeah. All right. He's getting paid to mow the lawn. How much? That's between him and Mia. Here we go. 1, 2, 8 beats. Go. Okay. So now we're switching between Ray and me. Is that hard? Is that hard? How is that for you? Easy. How's switching between Ray and me, flutes? So now, instead of away we go with C and D, now the flutes can figure it out on their own at their own speed. They can make it as hard as they want or as easy as they want, and as they're developing that, right, they're getting more and more comfortable. And if they're struggle bussing with it, then they can play one note, take a breath, move their hands, and play another note. But they don't feel like they're getting behind. They're going at their own pace, okay? So now we've got Ray, me, and Sol together. Ray, Mia, and Solomon are watching a Buccaneers game. No, Jags Buccaneers probably doing better than the Jags. All right. Although, you know what, let's not go there. All right. They're watching a sports ball game on the television. Here we go. 1, and the team is winning. 1, 2, 8 beats, and go. There it is. Great, great, great. I'm going to kind of speed run because we're getting a little bit short on time. So now we've got to move on to Dora. Dora is 3 years old and she is adorable. Band director jokes, almost as bad as dad jokes. Dora, like every 3-year-old on earth, thinks that she is the center of the universe. Scale degree 1, center of tonality. She thinks that she is the center of all the universe, and she really, really is. And now I show you the fingering, we're gonna play do. Great, so we improvise a little bit on do by itself, but now Solomon is going to do what every dad does with 3-year-olds. He's going to be tossing her up in the air, and he catches her every single time. Here we go. Solomon is tossing Mia up. Sorry, no, Mia. He's tossing Dora in the air. He can toss Mia, but he's tossing Dora up in the air. 1, 2, ready, 8, beat. Yeah, that's it. So that was kind of fun conceptually, but also what were we practicing? Brass in particular. Those were lip slurs, and I never once said lip slur. We're getting used to adjusting our embouchure, the high register, low register. Okay, and of course the saxophone's G to D, G to D, G to D, all that kind of stuff. Great, so now we love Dora, everything is fine. We're gonna add in Mia's sister, Dora's aunt, Laura. L-A-U-R-A, La, Ura, whatever, it's Laura. All right, scale degree 6, all right, so can we play La, please? And it's Mia's sister, and oddly enough, it's the exact same fingering. Laura's not in the immediate family, but she is a relative.
No.
And scale degree 6 is the basis for the relative minor. Grown if you want, but you know it's clever. All right, here we go. Can we play with La, please? Okay, now again, I'm speed running through 2 months worth of curriculum. But what have we just learned? How many months have we learned?
Pentatonic scale.
We now have a pentatonic scale, and you're going to sit on that pentatonic scale for a long time and get the students really comfortable, because 5 notes is a lot to be working with, all right? And they really need to start connecting their ear with the fingers. Let's do some pentatonic melodies here. I'm going to keep the clock on so I pace myself. We go to 11:20, yes? All right, we got 8 minutes to wrap this up. So let's do a little pentatonic scale. 8 beats pentatonic scale. I'm going to stop doing the family analogy and just say pentatonic. 1, 2, 8 beats. Here we go. Great. Let's do 16 beats. 8's not enough. Can't do about anything in 8 beats. Let's go 16 beats. 1, 2, pentatonic 16. Great. Now, before we go any further, we have to talk a little bit about the other 2 notes of the diatonic scale. And by the way, there are so many more dimensions we're not going to have time for this morning. We're going to talk about the concept of what a bass line does. It's a type of melody that is rhythmic. There's the harmonic roll, which isn't really part of bands as much as like a rock band keyboard or guitar. And of course, we already learned the rhythmic element. And after we learn all of those and combine them together, then we talk about other people's homes. Right now, we've only been in the home, right? Scale degree, or chord 1, the 1 chord. We're still at home. We haven't gone to Felicia's house, the 4 chord, and we haven't gone to a place of tension that we always want to go back home to afterwards. The 5 chord is, for you would say work. For the kids, they would say school. That's the 5 chord, okay? Each chord has sort of a persona, Ray's house, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The 7 chord is detention, by the way. I'll get to that in a second. But we're not going to really dwell on that. And once you've done all of that, well, then it's time to learn entirely new key areas. But all we're going to have time for this morning is to learn the diatonic melody. So we've got pentatonic, what's left over? The 2 tendency tones. And you have to be careful teaching these, because if you introduce them too soon, people are going to make sounds that sound unpleasant. Anybody can play any note of the pentatonic scale at any time, and it won't really sound all that bad, right? It'll sound like wind chimes. You really can't do anything that sounds disagreeable. But if you add fa or ti while you're in the tonic chord, you can get clashes. And there's always some person of jazz who says, what about major 7 chords? We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Please, we are not there yet. So I'm going to tell you about Felicia, as in by Felicia. Felicia, scale degree 4, fa, okay? Now, Felicia is Dora's cousin, it's Laura's daughter. They are family. However, Felicia, Mia's niece, is an energetic young lady, and she's noisy. She's smart, she's fun, but she's noisy, and she gives Mia migraines. So Fa and me should not dwell in the home. She should not stay in that house for long, because Mia will get a migraine. Their house is right next door, so she is a neighbor. Neighbor tone. You can use Fa as a neighbor to me, and you can use it to pass from me to Sol. So can we play with Fa? First I introduce Fa, yada, yada, yada. Let's do Fa. And then explain that while we're in that house, let's use it as a neighbor tone or a passing tone. I'll show you some examples, then you play with it. Play with Fa as a neighbor or passing tone. Go ahead. And you never want to hit it on a strong pass by. And so now all of a sudden we can play do, re, mi, fa, sol, fa, mi, re, do. We can do all of these kind of things, very smooth lines. And then we introduce, last but not least, Tito.
Tito.
First of all, we've got Uncle Tito, but also Tito sounds like T-do, which is exactly the concept you want to learn, T-do. T is a leading tone to do. T usually resolves to do, and it's also a lower neighbor to do. So let me introduce, and you can also use it as a passing tone. So here's T, and by the way, clarinets are not learning T, they're learning T. The time is not yet right for them to go across the break, and when they do, the first note they learn is not going to be T. All right, here we go. And by the way, the vast majority of your band instruments, scale degree 7 has the exact same fingering in both octaves. Clarinet being the prime exception, and of course the register key. All right, so now we can play diatonic melodies. Let's do a diatonic melody, and remember, don't dwell on fa, don't dwell on T, but use them as passing tones. I know, this was a lightning round. Let's try this. Here we go. 16 beats, not pentatonic, but diatonic. Diatonic. 1, 2, 16 beats, go.